Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Murmu. The pure love of God, the devotion by which we reach absolute perfection, transcend the nature, go beyond to a life eternal. We are seeing Kirtana, how we evolve through the Kirtana, how the fine emotions awaken when Narada was cursed that he will not be able to stay in one place. He was so happy. Usually, when somebody curses, we take it as an offense and lament over it. Instead, we see Narada becoming so happy and elated. Oh, I can't stay anymore in one place. I'll be roaming about place to place without rest, and I can go on singing the names and glories of God and distribute this sweetness, distribute the path to attain immortal life and rest in God. From lives to lives moving, I move to make others, moving from life to life, transcend the transmigration and reach perfection. So that kirtan, when it reaches a human soul, imagine the fine emotions that raise, how they feel about the God's presence and all things, His beauty, His compassion, and all that, how they foster in their life. And we went through the whole process, how Medha awakens, and the power of receptivity, that is Grahana, the power of retention, power of application, power of comprehension, altogether the Medha awakening. Then we saw the Tejas Vinavadhitamastuma, that awakening of the Tejas by which he radiates the Lord's presence within himself and outside, utilizing whatever circumstances, whatever his status he is put into. Now, from there, we go to the next smarana. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam. Smaranam. When we see in Shravana what has gone inside, in Kirtana it has slowly sunk with him and become one with the whole being. At all levels it is awakening and it has settled down and transforming the whole being to the divine awareness. It is awakened to the divine awareness. And from there, the constant remembrance comes out. What is sunk within pops up. Now, the Lord has replaced all inner unwanted files, and Lord is occupying the whole thing. And because it is a life, jivana, it's a constant living entity. Human body is a constantly living entity with maximum manifestation of consciousness. In all other animals are also living, and we see even insects and every being, even in plants and trees there is life. But we see highest manifestation of consciousness. I am conscious. This conscious manifestation is maximum in human. In insect, it is just a self-awareness and awareness of a small around. That's all. But man's conscious is not like that. And now when the Shravana and this has happened, the sinking within, Kirtana has happened, the whole being is conscious of the divine. It is not the normal consciousness of a human being with eyes, few worldly things and worldly possessions, worldly people, and with that consciousness, small consciousness, he wakes up, makes his living and again sleeps and wakes up, Jagra Swapna Shushupti. Now, this is a consciousness which is raised to the highest, the supreme one. And how much of life and living is there now? The living life in God is different from living a small life in the world. Now his consciousness filled with the cosmos and the beyond. And look at the vastness of his heart, vastness of mind, vastness of all that his inner thing. Now this life living makes the constant radiations possible. And the radio, how does the inner content radiate in and through that life? Is smarana. He is getting the constant, what has sunk within is constantly flowing out now. It is like water that has sunk in the rainy season. You have put a borewell and it is pumping outside. So in your heart you see, but your whole being is radiating and filled with God. From within he is raising the constant remembrance. In Bhagavad Gita also we see Krishna telling Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. You will have to fight. You will have to live. Now for a normal being, he has to do his duties of life. Now some amount of almost all duties are reduced to the minimum, and the main duty of human existence to realize God is taken up. Because after many, many lives, human lives of experiences, the soul evolves to the state of reducing the activities to minimum and being fully concerned with his main duty. The only duty, in fact, man has is to realize God. And that duty was left out in trying to fulfill all the worldly desires and needs of life. Now all this has fallen back, and one desire to reach God, to transcend the nature and go beyond is there in Jiva. And this Mahamanusmara Yudhyacha, Yudhya here is just to continue life till he merges in God, till he realizes God, till God becomes a reality more real than the physical world which we are seeing now. So here we see the Anusmara becoming natural. Natural Anusmara is going on. Life activities are also smoothly, as if he is there only an instrument and nature and God are making it move. He attends to all duties, never he leaves up. That is the only worship that he does in and through this body is the duties he attends to. Maybe looking after family, maybe earning his life or for sustaining the dependents, or maybe an ashrama where he is working with small duties of cooking or feeding, some activities to sustain life. And this happens unconsciously. All things are smoothly going on. Whole he is totally resting in God, and the constant smarana is there. Constant remembrance, unbroken remembrance of God. Anusmarana. Here Sri Krishna uses a specific term, anusmara. Anusmara. Smarana is remembering. I remember something and next moment my mind jumps to something else. But here it is not like that. It is constant smarana. To be constant smarana, what is necessary, you see? Mind is momentary, it jumps from here to there. My inner being as if it is projecting out. My heart is projecting out. The smarana which is there in mind drops out. Smarana which is heart is pumping up, and with the mind and intellect as if they are merged in the heart, it is coming out. Where the source? Awareness. Prajna. Prajna is filled with God in mind. It is reflecting, it is pumping. The awareness is whatever is your awareness, it will be your thoughts, it will be your feelings, it will be your action. All these feelings, thoughts, and actions are governed by awareness. Now, awareness is filled with God, and all these are moving in harmony with the awareness. That is Smarana. And here you see the whole thing which is projecting we call Antakarana. Antakarana, Bahirkarana. Antakarana, Bahirkarana is hands, feet and all that which is making move. But Antakarana is from within, where heart, mind and intellect, Buddhi, Manas and Hridaya are together pumping out things. In Smarana, it is not mind alone, it is not intellect alone, but intellect and mind which is merged in perfect harmony with heart. When mind and intellect are in harmony with the heart and awareness is filled with consciousness, the mind doesn't do the nature's work of jumping from here to there, taking away from past memories and future memories. It doesn't do, because it is in heart, in the control of the heart. It is in tune with the heart, and it is awareness is filled with consciousness. Consciousness is filled with the divine. So here, Buddhism doesn't calculate. It just helps to remain nischayatmika, the firmness in its thought. It is maintained by the buddhi. Buddhi, manas, which is sankalpa vikalpadmika associated with the chitta, that is the memory. Memory doesn't go into the past and future of the worldly life. Worldly life is dropped off, and it is conducted by the nature now. Nature has taken the responsibility, God has taken the responsibility. They are participating and constantly intuiting and guiding all the activities from within, because he is in anusmarana, constant remembrance of God. When the constant remembrance of God comes, the two aspects of our existence, the nature and God, participates in such a way that it whole thing is governed. My life is governed not by my karmas, not by my vasanas, but by the will of God. So, smarana, if a person has attained unbroken smarana of God, he has already finished. He is half the path. He has achieved, he has completed half path, means you can imagine to a what state of his spiritual unfoldment is there. A little more of his journey is left over. So anusmarana, when the person is able to get unbroken thought of God, anusmarana is constantly there. He is totally under the God's will, nature's help, and they are conducting his life, and his inner being is stretched, expanded to the Lord's presence. And another thing is what happens here is dislodging the or transforming the inner unconscious mind. We have three layers of consciousness. One is this conscious mind, which is working, conscious mind, and subconscious mind. Now I am thinking of what is the time, I have to next to what I have to do, where I have to go. Everything is in order. That will be unfolding. The whole day I have to what I have to do. Oh, I have to go for tiffin next. I have to go do cooking. All these things, one after the other. It is packed up, and one by one it will be prompting me to do the next one, next one. This is subconscious mind. Unconscious mind is what is stored in the unconscious mind is what touches the heart, fear, anxiety, which is our heart is caught by it. Whatever touches, how fearful things you see, those things will be lodged in the unconscious, intense enjoyments. All these get hidden and you'll be expecting. Now, when the child is small, we throw up and hold. The child gets frightened, and that fear lodges within. Even in old age, we see people as if they are falling from some height in dreams. The childhood, small, young age, that is done. See, examination, fear of examination, educational examination, academic examinations are so tense for the children. And you see, even in the latter period of life, he is totally established in life. Now, nothing to worry about the exams, old age is nearing. Still, he will see now and then the examination, going to examination and giving some paper in place of some other paper, and all this fear manifests. These are all from the unconscious mind. It has got lodged. Similarly, enjoyments, intense enjoyments also lodged and will be hiding within. Intense desires, that is in last life or even in this life. We do sankalpita ichha. I wanted to build a house. Whole life I struggled to build a house. I can't. I die. And the desire to build that house with great efforts, he was preserving it in his heart. Many desires appear and go. I want to go here, there, I have to meet this person, that person. All will dissolve away. But this sankalpita ichha will not die away. One life or the other, he will build that house and get the fulfillment. And such desires will be lodged in unconscious mind. And now from the unconscious mind, things has to be dislodged. But you cannot remove anything from the unconscious mind. It can enter into unconscious mind and dissolves with the fulfillment. But we don't have the time to do the any more fulfillment of the our external desires anymore. But internal, unconscious, what is there, till it becomes transformed, till it is changed, I don't get the perfect constancy in the sadhana. It will be oscillating. If they are weak, then also you'll see small waves, ripples coming up and going, not absolute perfect consistency. We won't be constant in our sadhana only because you see in every normal sadhaka's life. Now for 2 days he does with a great interest, and then many days break together in his, again he will remember, he will try to do, but doesn't do that same with constancy. Oh, I should not miss whatever happens, just like I don't miss my food, whatever happens, like that I should do my sadhana with more interest, more dedication, more longing. Doesn't happen because unconscious mind is not purified. Unconscious mind is not reflecting the ideal. So we find now and then, up and down, somehow we spend the life thinking we are devotees. But here in this case, when the smarana stage of our evolution comes, the constant memory comes, it is the constant memory is a sign that love has awakened in the heart. Now in smarana, we are fostering this love. We are fostering, we are preserving, we are nourishing it. The love of God is getting, just like you have planted a small plant and you give all the nourishment, proper sunlight, proper fertilizers, water, and all its proper conditions that it grows. You are nourishing it. So, like that, you are fostering, bringing up a small baby, like bringing up the love of God. So, when all things you are trying to take care of the love of God, you are fostering love, then the flow of love, the what all jnana, knowledge you have attained through satsanga, shravana, manana, and through kirtana, and kirtana is an important part we saw earlier. All these create on one side a stream of bhakti, that is love of God, and another stream of the jnana. Jnana and bhakti are flowing constantly within you and coming up as smarana. Coming up as smarana. Smarana alone is coming, but what is flowing into the unconscious mind, the innermost hidden layers, the terrains of your existence, of psychological being. So into that is constantly flowing in the, as the smarana is coming up, there is a, just like recoiling. I shoot away some arm. Now gun is there, I shoot. The gun bullet goes out, but there is a recoiling. The recoiling. Just like the smarana is coming up, there is a recoiling force which is entering into my unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is getting filled with jnana and bhakti. And there is constant japa also. With remembrance, always we see japa going on, consciously or unconsciously. It is His name. I am calling on Him. His name comes with the memory. Smarana, in consciously or unconsciously, whom I love. His name is there, may be hidden, but it is there. So that person's name, anybody calling that person's name, whom I love, immediately draws my attention because it is awake within. So these three streams, like the Trivedi Sangama, it goes inside the unconscious mind, and nothing can be removed from there, but it undergoes a transformation. Like the Vishnu chakra or Krishna's discus, it goes on rotating within, and the transform it is undergoing. It cannot be destroyed, but it undergoes a transformation. Now I was aspiring. Suppose I am aspiring for children. Now I get disciples. I get people, bhaktas, small bhaktas, whom I can express my motherhood. I can express my fatherhood to them. So another, now the desire to have children will totally disappear, and to live with the devotees, the desire appears. The unconscious is transformed. I wanted to build a house in my last many lives before, and every life I tried, I could not fulfill that one desire of building house. But in this life, you see, you are going to build a house for a devotee who doesn't have a house, or you may build a temple for the use of many. So this internal transformation, the transformation, the unconscious mind goes on within. As the smarana is coming, that is the whole being, the inner terrains of your existence are becoming divinized. Your mind, which is already externally we have attained great amount of purity, inner things, it has to go to the level of Dagda Bija, from conscious gross existence. All this divinization must go to the subtle level, gross level, stula, sukshma, karana, and then the beyond, the dagda bija it must become. The vasanas must become dagda bija before we get the. Now this is, we have kirtana. Within Shravana and Kirtana, you get the gross purification. In Smarana, you start getting the subtle level of purification. That's why Sri Krishna says, Mam Anusmara Yutyacha. You constantly remember me and do your activities of life. We have to do so many activities of life, knowingly or unknowingly, because just by the virtue of our living, I am living itself demands some type of activity or other. In this process, we see even in our Advaita, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana is what I hear, Manana is once what is heard, thousands of times it is again and again recollected. The in Kirtana what we do in the process of Manana in the Advaitic path. And the Nididhyasana, early part of Nididhyasana is constant flow of the same wave. Suppose Aham Brahmasmi, Soham, all these aspects, the same wave of I being the Brahman, I being the absolute existence, far from being body, that we again and again we come back to that awareness. So this Manana part and Nididhyasana part. Manana part is something like Kirtana, and Nididhyasana, early stage of Nididhyasana is the Smarana. In Smarana, we slowly try to get fixed. Its movement is perfectly calm and moving in a particular direction with consistency. The waves that are coming from within are constant and of the same time, the same awareness. Will continue. Om शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।